If you guys don't want to get spoiled by the version 3.3 story, please click away from this video. I just finished playing through Honkai Star Rail's 3.3 story. I don't think I have any other word to describe this other than the fact that this was the best story that I've played in HSR from version 1 all the way to this date. And it's really just not even an exaggeration. And yes, I do personally feel this was even better than Sunday's arrival with Babin and the whole HSR. This was even better, right? In summary, you know how like we keep complaining, oh, it's a HSR. It's HSR. No one actually dies in this game, right? Yep. All these people, you know, they'll never do it. They'll never do it. You know, people thought that Firefly died, they'll never do it. People that this bitch, well, they killed off the entire cast. Like straight up, like killed. We literally saw their dead bodies. Aglaea is gone. Tribbie is gone. Mydei is gone. Cipher is gone. Basically, everybody that we have known, seen, touched, breathed, everybody in the cast of version 3, they're gone. Can you imagine that, bro? They couldn't even show Tribbie's dead body. They just symbolized it by showing that Tribbie was there helping Mydei, and then like towards the end, when like the Mydei was getting cooked, the door was like floating on the body of water to signify that, yep, she's gone. Flame River sliced Tribbie, bruh. Same thing for Cipher. He did the same exact thing for Cipher. We even heard the sound of the blade like slicing through her. I mean, it's crazy, man. Oh, the villains are also dead though. To be fair, the stupid ass dumbass bitch, the old hag, I don't even know what her name is. Kainis, I don't know what it is. Yep, bro died a peaceful death, but a death nonetheless. I don't think Dunhin is gone, right? We saw bro summon the power of E2 Tail, and he was basically 1v3ing Flame Weaver. I don't think he's gone. They still show him fighting. I would be shit-faced if Dunhin dies, right? Absolutely not. So let's just be for real, right? Dunhin is not dead. Yeah, but basically everybody is gone, and I would have never ever expected that for a story update in HSR, where like it's kind of crazy that if you take a look at my team, right, almost every single unit that I put in version 3, except for Dihera, they're gone. But aside from the deaths, which I think we have touched on enough, I do want to talk about the story itself. I'm trying to recall, right, has there been a story that was like this well paced in HSR's history? And I just don't think that there ever was, man. I think the entire playtime of this story was probably roughly 7 to 8 hours. So it was a pretty long story. To be fair, we also like look at the dialogues. We didn't skip anything. We didn't go for the sunrise version. You know, I spent like 15 minutes reading the fanfic of like the, you know, my professor can't be this cute or some shit like that. And despite this being such a long ass story, with like the amount of store that I've been going through, I taking a piss, you know, talking with chat, pausing here and there, because as a streamer, my job is not to just play, it's to entertain as well, right? Which is why it took a little bit long. But I think if you play yourself, like if you just sit down and play yourself without like talking to like this thousands of people over here, you can probably crank this one out probably in like 5 to 6 hours. I think that is pretty reasonable. At every point of like the development in this 3.3 patch, there was always something that's like leading up to an even more impactful moment right after. So they basically did this by splitting up the path between Phainon and the gang, going into the big Babin bird, right, going against Aquila, and they split off Cipher to her path. So whenever something is happening with, I think we start off with Cipher, then we jump back to our Phainon path, then Phainon then jump into Cipher, etc, etc. And then once everything was cleared up, and then Cipher, rest in peace, God bless her, we go back into convergence where we reached the acknowledgement where Amphoreus is cooked. Yep, Amphoreus is ending, the whole world is collapsing, and I'm going to talk about Cipher a little bit more, but like, essentially the entire world is coming to an end, and now we go onto the same path to try and reach the final call flame from Carefully. And along the way, you know, Mydei, Tribbie, Phainon, Tribbie, which is the new, that's when, you know, everybody basically try to help us, you know, Chadicus, Zagreus, you know, everybody eventually led Phainon to the final journey, which he decided to send us off. But rules are meant to be, hell nah, I'm not going away. Absolutely not, right? But Phainon wanted to send us off. So he finally took the final call flame, and he was about to crash out. He was about to crash out against Jin, right? And then we sneak peek, finally, boom, revealed Cyrene. Holy shit. Elysia, wife is back and all that, right? So I think the pacing throughout this entire time, it was done beautifully. I think it was really done beautifully. There was not a lot of drag, and for some parts that were a little bit draggy, like the Optimus Prime taking like 0.5 speed. You could just go for the option of like summarizing everything and you just didn't have to listen to all that yet. I don't think there was any downtime where I felt like, okay, it was way too draggy, because there was always a lot of action and a lot of dialogue, which had a huge influence on the overall flow of how this story on Amphoreus turned out to be. I don't think it's too fair to expect everyone to be like, okay, yeah, I love 3.3, because if people just like skip through the entirety of 3.0, skip through the entirety of 3.1, 3.0, 3.2, and then, okay, you know what, let's play 3.3, because my streamer said 3.3 is the best story of them all, but you have like zero context as to what the hell is going on. What happened to Casuals? What happened to Tribbie? What happened to Mydei? What was the whole thing? How the hell did Carefully even call up the role? How did the role even end towards the end? I think if you lack the context for the past 3 patches, the enjoyment for this story, I would say is greatly diminished. And I would say even for myself, I don't even think my enjoyment is at its peak, because me personally, I can't remember the lore about Golden Gears. I can't remember the lore about like SUDU, Prince Rupert, the Emperor Scepter, all that. I actually have no idea what's going on. So that needs me to probably go and watch like an Ashikai video to just see like, well, what's up with all that, right? And the Lord Ravager that has been like hidden in the planet itself, which is what caused the whole Black Titan anyways. I think Shaoji just had enough of people saying, you know, this is a baby arc and nobody actually dies. And then bro decided to wake up and like, oh yeah, let's just kill everyone. Oh, you guys keep saying, oh, nobody dies? Okay, then let's just kill everyone then. But let's just talk specifically about the general crucial moments in the story, which I still recall. Basically the most impactful one, and the most impactful fight, I would say, is gonna be the one where Hyacine literally became like a goddess, right? She absorbed the fucking gem, the core flame, and she turned into like this goddess of like transcends beyond like the fucking healing, and the little E-card itself is like whoa, and then she arises up and she fucking spits out rainbow from her head, and she fucking supported us as we were about to get cooked by the giant ass bird. I think that fight probably still is one of the most cinematic fights to this day. I think it is pretty close with Sunday's fight, because Sunday's fight, you know, the whole Barbin, Astro Express, you know, everything, I think that was really good. But in terms of the fight itself, like this particular fight, I think there were more effects, more cinema, better music. I'm sorry, Robin. The song was a fucking banger. You know it, I know it. Everybody know that song is a fucking banger. The fucking animation quality was at the 3-camera split angle, and then we ride on the Solaris and the Lunaris Solaris, and we ride on, and with Phainon, 2 of us combined with that final slash from Yaya, boom, and then we ended the giant Barbin, right? Even before this fight itself being that much of a cinema, I think my heart rate shot up to like, I don't know, 110 or some shit. It was legitimately fucking crazy. I think the way they structured this fight as well, it made a lot of sense to me. For Seliose, I feel bad that she turned out to be that way, because she started out as like a hero, right? Seliose started out as a hero. She started out as somebody that actually stood for the people and went up against the god. But eventually, after she killed the god, right? She realized that the very people that she once loved turned into acts of unspeakable horror. I think they hinted that they were like fucking killing their own, they were like cannibalizing or something, because they were like I don't know, they were like just doing fucked up shit. Because at that specific point, even though Seliose loved the people, the moment the very same group of people realized that their entire life, their faith was built upon this god that just never loved them, and now this god is actually dead. If people have lost their faith, then they have like nothing else left to lose. Something along those lines. So they basically lost all of their humanity for that specific moment and just turned at the most deplorable shit, because God is quite literally dead. Right? Their god was dead. And despite her proving the world that this beast was like not good, her action led to the very same people doing way worse things before she even killed the god. And that's what made her realize that humanity might just be beyond saving, right? Humanity at its core is just a fucked up group of people, right? When there was a new church, right? A new church that dedicated their lives to Seliose, they went about killing other people that still believed in the old gods, because, okay, how dare you not worship Seliose? It made her realize that, like, no matter what she does, the humankind at that point, at that specific point, is just cooked. I guess in her absolute crashed out mind, she decided the best course of action was to just commit genocide. Yep, she committed genocide against the fucking people back there. And she made use of the two lunar rays and solar rays, right? The two little moon and sun things to commit genocide for her by burning them in literal molten gold lava. What the fuck? After she committed mass genocide, there was but one person that managed to convince her to spare her, right? Because she was a chrysotere, right? She had golden blood. She wanted Seliose to spare her so that she can spread the message of like humans are actually possible to be redeemed. This was a very, very important point of the story because the entire time when we thought that, okay, our whole flame chase journey and everything, it was like reached towards a goal where we could save the world, right? And then there was like a finishing line where somebody is gonna be there to help us save Amphoreus. It turns out that the very gods, right? The Seliose, for example, she never had any faith. She never had any like, oh, 1,000 years later, if you completed, you know, right, your entire ancestral bloodline, they dedicated their entire lives to this journey. She never thought that it was out of a perspective of like, okay, they have went through so much, they are now a W human race, and I will now help them. She went with this intention, thinking, yep, human race are just that fucked up. I'm gonna just spare you, not because, you know, I think human race is salvageable. I'm gonna spare you just for you to show 1,000 years later, they're still fucked up. It completely like shattered Hia's perspective of like the entire world. And like, why the fuck was her whole bloodline even doing? Going up to Seliose, which just already completely abandoned the human race. And I think that was such a crazy ass moment for Hyacine as well as even little Ika, right? Little Ika's ancestor was like the lunar race, right? Was like the horse, was like the moon horse. And little Ika found out, oh wait, my ancestor committed genocide for a god that never believed in the humans. Yep, that's cool. So I thought the entire fight and the plot leading up to that fight was very, very well crafted. I think they absolutely cooked. And towards the end, if I had just one critique, one feedback, why the fuck did Mimi not fly fast enough to save that fucking bracelet, bro? She was literally flying. The moment she saw the bracelet about to fucking crash, she could have just flew there in her own will. No. She just stood there and stared at the fucking bracelet like a dumbass bitch and watched as Phainon missed the bracelet by like that little bit of a gap. And only after Phainon missed, then she started flying down and tried to get the bracelet. And then and then Aglaea died. Like, died for real. Yeah, maybe it's planned. Yeah, maybe Aglaea wanted to die. So Mimi read Aglaea's mind, so she intentionally let Aglaea die because Aglaea, there was only one, right? Like what Doctor Strange said, there was only one way. So maybe Mimi knows, but you know, I didn't know. I didn't know, so I was really upset. Okay, but anyways, so that is gonna be the first big plot, the first big moment for 3.3 in my opinion. Afterwards, Cipher. I did not expect Cipher to be the MVP, man. She was the absolute MVP. When the entire team is like 0 and 30. Okay, maybe 1 and 30, right? Somebody got a first blood or some shit. Bro, she hard carried the entire Amphoreus. Just a little thief, right? A little rat. A thief. Picked up from the trash that she was by Aglaea. And then Aglaea became like her motherly figure. Adopted her. And after all that, she was the actual MVP of Amphoreus. I think she was the MVP, right? Maybe you guys have a different opinion on who was the MVP so far. I think she was the MVP because the first and most important thing was apparently carefully stopped the creation thingy 700 years ago. But because of Cipher's ability, where if she could bend enough people to believe in her lie and that lie becomes a reality, she had the ability to literally manipulate reality based on what people believed in. And because everybody in the whole world except for her, they didn't know the truth. And because everybody believed in it, the entire world of Amphoreus is quite literally built on Cipher's lie. And now it's kind of crazy because Aglaea asked Cipher the question, right? Aglaea asked Cipher the question of like, okay, you know, lies will always be lies, and eventually one day it's gonna come out. But little does she know, I think if not for Cipher's lie 700 years ago, everybody would be dead. Long. There wouldn't even be a flame chase journey anymore. Because carefully already, adios, fuck off, I'm out. But because of the lie by Cipher, she actually managed to store 700 years. Even Farina couldn't manage that shit, bro. Farina was at 500. Your Farina only stored for 500 years. Well, my Cipher did it for 700. So W power creep, it is what it is. And on top of that, I think that final moment where she fought with Flame Weaver. First of all, I don't know why the fuck she kept rage baiting. Like, if she, hey, let's just be honest, if she didn't rage bait, maybe Flame Weaver would have just spared her. You know what I'm saying? But bro just kept rage baiting for like no fucking reason. So maybe maybe like you could say that, okay, maybe Flame Weaver could have been a little bit happier, and he could have just like cut off her arm or some shit and just let her live. But she rage baited Flame Weaver not once, not twice, 3 times, and then she got cooked. Yep. He actually outsped her. She lost the speed RNG. Flame Weaver outsped her ass from action value shenanigans, stole a fucking coin, and when she wanted to get the coin back, boom, cooked. That fight aside, right? That very last moment, I really thought, oh my god, chat, look at that. Aglaea is still alive, guys. Aglaea is still alive because there was the golden beetle, right? And like Aglaea came back and like, you know, all that. Oh my god, it was actually her making use of her own ability. She was so convinced in her head that she was looking at Aglaea that even though it was a lie, her ability made it to become the truth. When that golden beetle was actually just an ordinary beetle, and then she manifested Aglaea into reality for herself just before she died. She was like, Aglaea, can you please answer? Can you please answer? And then because of that, her will was so locked in that, oh my god, I need to speak with Aglaea one time. Then Aglaea manifested by her own power, and then she came back, and then she gave her the final words, and like, oh my god, bro, that shit was fucking crazy, bro. Yeah, and then yeah, those were her final moments. Yeah, I think this Cipher arc was absolutely fucking insane. She was absolutely the MVP. I don't think anyone else would. I feel like at this point right now, Kevin, right, Phainon would probably become the MVP. Like, Kevin is the AD carry, right? Kevin's the AD carry. The entire team is dead. It is now up to the AD carry with 200 kills, maxed out with 6 items, everything to kill the enemy team right now, right? Because everybody sacrificed their lives for Kevin, right? So that's pretty much up to Phainon now. And one last thing before I wrap up this video, just one last thing. This entire journey of 3.3 story, it really makes me a lot more appreciative of the build up towards the 3.3 story. Even outside of the Yet-Fest in 3.0 itself, the lore tied to even SU, DU, Gold, and Gears, right? I feel like Honkai Star the lore is actually, it can be very, 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 very deep. And I don't think a normal person would be able to understand everything, because there's like a shit ton of fucking, and I truly have a newfound respect for like all of the lore makers, the lore crafters, the lore tubers. They actually like dig through all that and cook up like exactly what's going on, because I really don't think I would have came as close to my enjoyment as I have for 3.3 if I didn't understand the context, at least in Amphoreus, right? At least in Amphoreus. So I would say for this specific story, I mean, by the time you watch this video, I'm assuming that you already finished it, right? I'm assuming you already finished the story yourself. Please finish it. Don't let anyone spoil you. Please don't get spoiled, by the way. If you get spoiled by this story, oh my god. Me personally, I would just tell the Sunday to just nuke their house. Because if somebody spoils you 3.3 story, oh my fucking god, you know, I have no words, right? So please just finish this story as fast as possible, because if you get spoiled on this, it's really, really fucking bad. But in any case, if for whatever reason you feel that, you know, oh man, 3.3 was too much yap. You know, 3.0 is too much yap. You know, I ain't gonna fucking sit through 30 hours of story just to like, ooh, wow, this story was good. I think you're right. I feel like you're justified, and which is why like some people enjoy reading a book, right? Some people enjoy reading books. Some people enjoy watching movies. Some people enjoy watching anime. Some people enjoy reading manga. And I feel like if this is just not that good for you, you don't have enough time to sit through all that, I think that's completely fine. I would say this story, at least for me, I think it was the best HSR story told to this day. I'm really, really looking forward to see what 3.4 has to offer. And I think the story for Amphoreus is going to be ending in 3.7. And I think we're going to be going back to Panacony after that. Which is honestly a little bit fucking crazy, thinking that this is not even the halfway mark. Right? Because technically we're not even the halfway mark. 3.4 will be the halfway mark. And like everybody already died. So I don't really know what else are they left to cook, because everybody's dead. I do hope, like, a bit of a, I guess, future expectations. I hope it's not a story where Cabin obtains everybody, right? He gets all of the core flames and he transcends and he activates the secret and he becomes a god or some shit. I hope that it's not a situation where he just snaps like fucking Thanos, and then everybody just comes back. And then it's like nothing ever happened. As much as I would like that to happen, as much as I would like Aglaea to be alive, as much as I would like Tribbie, Mydei, everybody to come back, I think that's what makes this whole Amphoreus arc beautiful for me. And it would cheapen the experience that I've had for the past 4 patches. So hopefully they stick with it, and towards the end, we'll say farewell to Amphoreus, where Amphoreus is. I'm hoping it's saved. I hope it's not like the fucking planet explodes and then we say bye-bye and we go to the next planet. That'll be fucked up. I hope the Amphoreus planet is gonna be saved, but not at the expense of nothing, right? All of the flame chasers, right? All the core flames. I hope that, you know, their sacrifices were not made in vain in the first place. Go visit Cipher's grave. Are you scared of death? I'm not scared of death. I'll reunite Princess Homebody. What is there to be scared of? My final moments won't be of any value to this world, just like my people. Damn. I feel the same way, boss. If I don't get a performance this week with you, I won't be able to rest in peace. I knew you said that. Come on, just follow our plan. You'll stay with Big Sis, Tribbie, and Phainon. You're merely a letter now. Don't make any noise to scare them. I won't disappoint you, boss. Who would have thought that our final trade would be built on unconditional mutual trust? How exhilarating, Zagreus. The cat who lived a million lives. Alright, we're ending this video here. Bye-bye.